What's going on, guys? It's your boy Ty, and today in this video we're going to be touching on Star Wars, a franchise that for some reason I just don't find myself talking about that often, but today is the day. We're going to be having a short discussion about a bit of a controversial topic, that being whether or not Star Wars with their shows is starting to rely a little bit too heavily on cameos, which is taking away from basically the quality of the storytelling. But guys, before we get into that, before we really dive deep here, if you guys like this video, please consider dropping a like. If you really have a good time with it, that would mean the world to me. Listen, it's no secret that we have been getting some pretty disappointing Star Wars shows in the past couple of years. Some of them are great, whether that's Andor or The Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2. Season 3 we'll talk about, but yeah, we've been getting some really good content. But obviously, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Disney, whatever you want to say, has been straying away from movies. I mean, it's been 4 years since we've gotten a movie, and on top of that, we've had so many announcements of films for the future that have just been either canceled or delayed, this or that. So right now, we are in a very TV show focused era of Star Wars, and that's very clear. I mean, all we're getting now is literally TV shows. In a way, it's following the same formula as the MCU, where they are leaning more into the shows, because obviously they're both run by the same company, that is Disney, but at least and the MCU is still putting out movies. They're just focusing on shows with Star Wars. So this is the thing. I just feel like, in a way, these Star Wars shows are almost suffering from some of the same problems that the MCU movies are currently suffering from, or at least they kind of were in the past 2 years, that being cameo bait. Every movie that comes out, whether it's No Way Home, oh my god, are we going to see the Spider-Man? Don't get me wrong, that's an outlier example, because who didn't want to see that? But even Multiverse of Madness, there were so many rumors about who's going to show up at the Illuminati, this, that. And that's the only reason, for the most part, people were really excited to see this film. I feel like that's how it is with some of these Star Wars shows. When we look at Ahsoka, everyone's saying, oh my god, was Anakin going to show up? And keep in mind, yeah, we know that now with hindsight, but even before the show, it wasn't like they were really, promoting Anakin. It was just a rumor. Then I feel like they try to lean a little bit too hard into like, hey, look guys, here's Anakin, we're jangling keys. Don't get me wrong, I feel like from a storytelling point, the Obi-Wan show was honestly just horrendous, but I feel like they are just kind of dangling keys in front of the viewer and just being like, hey guys, look, cameo. Like when they show Qui-Gon at the end as a Force ghost to try to be like, whoa, look, we're showing somebody that you know. It just feels very cheap to me, and the budget of that show was already way too low. Then you've got other great shows like Andor that's just story driven. They don't care about showing Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker. No, the Book of Boba Fett is a prime example. 2 episodes of that show are literally episodes of The Mandalorian. The cameo was literally The Mandalorian or Baby Yoda, whatever you want to say. They're basically a cameo, like I was saying, in that show. It doesn't help the story. It basically takes the emphasis off of Boba Fett. And keep in mind, I thought the story of that show was terrible, but it takes the attention away from him, and it just tries to flash this thing that they know people already like because they got a hit with The Mandalorian, and it's just like very baity and stuff. The Mandalorian Season 3 as well. There's cameos of Jack Black and Lizzo for literally no reason. And these are very noticeable, recognizable people. It's not like, oh, we're just going to subtly slide someone in. Also, Doc from Back to the Future, I'm forgetting his name, he was also in that. Like, it's like clear that they're not really worrying about the story as much, and they're more just worried about pleasing the fans just by showing faces. How about you show us a good story? Like, sorry, was that a bar? I don't know. But would that really kill them to do? Like I said, I want to give them their praises, because when they really focus in on the stories here, right? Like I said, Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, Luke Skywalker in Season 2, that's cool. That makes sense for the story. But then, as we get into it with these other stupid cameos, it's like, what are you doing? Same with Andor. That's not cameo-based. That's story-based. Listen, Dave Filoni's great and all. I do feel like he does get a little bit overrated, kind of like in a Zack Snyder way, where he has like these diehard fans. I just don't really know what Star Wars is doing as a whole. The reason I keep saying Star Wars is because I feel like I don't really know who to blame here. Is it Jon Favreau? Is it Dave Filoni? Is it the higher-ups at Disney who are like, we want you to put, cameos in this show and this show? I don't really know what they're doing or whose plan it is to basically just have people keep showing up. But again, like I said, I feel like they think to an extent we're kind of stupid and that they think that, oh yeah, having people show up will make up for a lack of story or actual quality content, emotions being pulled out of you, or meaningful fleshed out characters, rather than just showing us old people and they're like, oh, here's Luke Skywalker, here's Anakin, here's... It just feels very cheap. I wish they would actually just tighten up their scripts, get some good writers in here, especially that the WGA strikes over, and actually try to write really incredible shows. And it's definitely possible. There's so much stuff in the world of Star Wars, and hopefully, especially like what we saw in the Ahsoka show, they'll actually expand out of this, you know, Skywalker, whatever you want to call it, timeline, just out of the 9 episodes. We have so much in this galaxy. Go somewhere else. Go venture out. Show us new characters. Show us new stories. You don't have to be constrained or have this constraint, basically. I don't even know what I'm saying. Have this constraint with this same timeline just bouncing around to different points. Go out there. The one thing I can say about the MCU is that at least they're always moving forward. It's not like we started at Iron Man, ended at Endgame, and then we're just bouncing around in between those movies. No, the wheel keeps rolling, the ball keeps rolling, whatever you want to say, and we keep moving forward. This just feels like we're stuck in time, we're stuck in space, haha. But yeah, I don't know. I wish they just try something new. That would actually, you know, get the audience's attention, because if you give us a good story with new characters, people will love it. Like, this is already a beloved franchise, and if you just put the Star Wars name on there, people are gonna watch it. Look what Marvel did with the Guardians of the Galaxy. You can do it. They attached Marvel's name to the Guardians of the Galaxy, because obviously no one would have watched that movie if it wasn't a Marvel movie, and they ended up making an amazing movie, especially because they put a creative talent behind it. Do the same thing with a movie. Like, I don't understand why that's so hard. Get a creative talent in there, make up new characters. I know that like Star Wars isn't as comic based. Maybe you want to go deep into the comics. Maybe there's someone that is from like Star Wars books or comics, whatever, that we haven't seen yet. Pull them out, even if they're like D-list characters, who cares? And try to make something good. Use that Star Wars name to your advantage and make a great story that doesn't show anybody else that we've already seen. It's so cheap. It feels clickbaity. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's how Disney is now. It's just like whatever gets us views, whatever makes us money. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I just want good storytelling. That's what matters at the end of the day. That's what made the first 6 episodes of Star Wars so great. No one cared about cameos. It was about how good the stories were and how great the characters were and how well they were fleshed out. But yeah, guys, that's going to just about do it for today. Let me know in the comments what you think is like just going on with Star Wars in general. Do you think they should try to move in another direction? Like, I know that I was talking about like the cameos and the storytelling, but just let me know your thoughts on just the current state of Star Wars and what you think they could do to just kind of improve it and just kind of lift them out of this era of what I would call mediocrity. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for today. I love you guys. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.